Hello students. Today we'll be talking about production activities in villages. Production activities require various types of resources. Production activity requires various types of resources such as natural resources, man-made items, human effort, money, etc. In villages across India, farming is the main production activity. In villages across India, farming or agriculture is the main type of economic activity or production activity. The other production activities referred to as non-farm activities. The other production activities referred to as non-farm activities include small manufacturing, transport, shopkeeping, etc. Hello students. The aim of production is to produce the goods and resources that we want. The aim of production is to produce the goods and resources that we want. In general, there are four factors of production that involve in the production process. There are four factors of production that go into the production process. One is land. Two is labor. Three is capital. And fourth is human capital. Land, labor, capital, and human capital. There are four requirements for production of goods and services. The first requirement is land and other natural resources such as water, forests, and minerals. The second requirement is labor, the people who will do all the work. Some production activities require highly educated workers to perform the necessary tasks. Other activities require only workers who do manual work. The third requirement is physical capital, tools, machines, buildings, etc. The other requirement is physical capital, tools, machines, buildings, etc. Tools and machines range from very simple tools such as farmer's plow to complicated machines such as generators, turbines, and computers. Tools, machines, buildings can be used in production over many years and are called fixed capital. Tools, machines, buildings can be used in production over many years and are called fixed capital. Raw materials and money in hand. Production requires a variety of raw materials such as yarn used by the weaver and the clay used by the potter. Also, some money is always required during production to make payments and buy other necessary items. Raw materials and money in hand are called working capital. Every production is organized by combining land, labor, physical capital, and human capital, which are known as factors of production. Every production is organized by combining land, labor, physical capital, and human capital, which are known as factors of production. Hi students. The most important part while talking about land is fixed. The most important part when we talk about land is fixed. There's a basic constraint in raising farm production. Remember that there's a basic constraint in raising farm production. Land under cultivation is practically fixed. During the rainy season, Kharif season, farmers grow jowar and bajra. These plants are used as cattle feed. It is followed by cultivation of potato between October to December. In the winter season, which is Rabi season, fields are sown with wheat. From the wheat produced, farmers keep enough wheat for the family's consumption and sell the surplus wheat at the market. A part of the land area is also devoted to sugarcane, which is harvested once a year. A part of the land is also set aside for cultivation of sugarcane, which is sown every once a year. Sugarcane in its raw form or as jaggery is sold to traders. To grow more than one crop on a piece of land during the year is known as multiple cropping. To grow more than one crop on a piece of land a year is called multiple cropping. It is the most common way of increasing production on a given piece of land. It is the most common way of increasing production on a given piece of land. Till the mid 1960s, the seeds used in cultivation were traditional ones with relatively low yields. Till 1960s, the seeds used in cultivation were traditional ones with relatively low yields. Traditional seeds needed less irrigation. Farms used cow dung and other natural manure as fertilizers. Farmers used cow dung and other natural fertilizers for their land. All these were readily available with the farmers who did not have to buy them. The Green Revolution in the late 90s, late 1960s introduced the Indian farmer to cultivation of wheat and rice using high-yielding varieties of seeds. The Green Revolution in the late 1960s introduced the Indian farmer to cultivation of wheat and rice using high-yielding seeds. Compared to the traditional seeds, the high-yielding variety of seeds promised to produce much greater amounts of grain on a single plant. As a result, the same piece of land would now produce for larger quantities. As a result, the same piece of land would now produce for larger quantities. HYV seeds, high-yielding variety seeds, however, needed plenty of water and chemical fertilizers. High-yielding variety of seeds, however, needed plenty of water and chemical fertilizers. Hi students, now we have reached the question of will the land sustain? The question we have reached is will the land sustain? Over periods of years, as the farming keeps on going, there is a depletion of soil resources and minerals, which leads to depletion of natural resources. Land being a natural resource, it is necessary to be careful in its use. Land being a natural resource, it is necessary to be careful in its use. Scientific reports indicate that the modern farming methods have overused the natural resource base. Scientific reports have estimated that over a period of use, modern farming methods have overused the natural resource base. In many areas, green revolution is associated with the loss of soil fertility due to increased use of chemical fertilizers. In many areas, green revolution is related with the loss of soil fertility due to increase in the chemical fertilizers used. Also, continuous use of groundwater for tube well irrigation has led to the depletion of water table. Also, continuous use of groundwater for tube well irrigation has led to the depletion of water table. Environmental resources like soil fertility and groundwater are built up over years. Once destroyed, it is very difficult to restore them. We must take care of the environment to ensure future and further development of agriculture. We must take care of the environment to ensure future development of agriculture. Hi students, today we are going to talk about labor as a factor of production. Labor is the next necessary factor of production. Labor is the next necessary factor of production. Labor includes unskilled, uneducated workforce or skilled and educated workforce. Labor includes unskilled or uneducated workforce and skilled or educated workforce. Farming requires a great deal of hard work. Small farmers, along with their families, cultivate their own fields. Small farmers, along with their farmers, cultivate their own fields. Thus, they provide the labor required for farming themselves. Medium and large farmers hire farm laborers to work on their fields. Medium and large farmers hire farm laborers to work on their fields. Hi students, today we'll be talking about the capital needed in farming. After land, labor is the next necessary factor of production. After land, labor is the next necessary factor of production. Farming requires a great deal of hard work. Small farmers, along with their families, cultivate their own fields. Thus, they provide the labor required for farming themselves. Medium and large farmers hire farm laborers to work on their fields. In contrast to the farmers, in contrast to the small farmers, the medium and large farmers have their own savings from farming. Thus, they are able to arrange for the capital they need. Hi, students. Apart from farming, the other most important economic activity in villages is dairy. Dairy includes growing of buffaloes and using buffaloes for their milk. Farmers feed the cows or the buffaloes with grass and bajra, and they churn out the milk and sell it to nearby cities and towns. Hello students. Farming is the main production activity in the village. Over the years, there have been many important changes in the way farming is practiced. These have allowed the farmers to produce more crops for the same amount of land. This is an important achievement since land is fixed and scarce. But in raising production, a great deal of pressure has been put on land and other natural resources. The new ways of farming need less land but much more of capital. The medium and large farmers are able to use their own savings from production to arrange for capital during the next season. On the other hand, the small farmers, who constitute about 80% of the total farmers in India, find it difficult to obtain capital. Because of the small size of their plots, their production is not enough. The lack of surplus means that they are unable to obtain capital from their own savings and have to borrow. Besides the debt, many of the small workers have to do additional work as farm laborers to feed themselves and their families. Labor is one of the most important factors of production. Labor being the most abundant factor of production, it would be ideal if new ways of farming used much more labor. Unfortunately, such a thing has not happened. The use of laborers on farms is limited. The labor looking for opportunities is thus migrating to nearby villages, cities, and towns. Some labor has entered the non farm sector in the villages. At present, the non farm sector in the village is not very large. Out of every 100 workers in the rural areas in India, only 24 are engaged in non farm activities. In the future, one would like to see more non farm production activities in the village. Unlike farming, non farm activities require little land. Unlike farming, non farm activities require very little land. People with some amount of capital can set up non farm activities. One can either use his own savings but more often has to take a loan. It is important that the loan be available at low rate of interest so that even people without savings can start some non-farm activity. Another thing which is essential for expansion of non-farm activities is to have markets where the goods and services produced can be sold. As more villages get connected to towns and cities through good roads, transportation, and telephone, it is possible that the opportunities for non farm activities in the village would increase in the coming years.